And it seems that we finally have prices that aren't fake. MSRP prices are finally meaning something, and we can buy cards at the current MSRP, which is something that we haven't seen in quite a while.
The more GPUs you buy, the more money you save.
In cards like the 5080, the 9070, 9070 XT, 5070 Ti, but it seems that prices are finally getting to what they should be. For example, let's start with the recently released RX 9060 XT. With the 9060 XT, we can see that we have the 8GB version at $299, which is literally the MSRP price. So we have several $299 models. This one is out of stock. Again, the XFX one, $299, exactly the one that I have, but I have the 16GB one. And then only the higher tier models like the Steel Legend are a bit over at like $40 difference. But yeah, we have several models at MSRP, which always should be the case. And what should always be the case as well is you wanting to help this channel by watching today's sponsor, GVG Mall, bringing you lots of software deals like Windows 10, Windows 11, Office 2019 or 2021 with a new Windows 11 design. And for all of these, you can use my SKG discount code for 30% off, getting a Windows 11 serial key for $22 and a Windows 10 one for only $15. Then use the key on your Windows settings and you'll have an activated system. But yeah, we have several models at MSRP, which always should be the case. And if we go to the 16GB model, by the way, I saw the prices yesterday and a lot of these cards were still available. They are now sold out of stock because of course people were buying these cards. But we do have, for example, one 16GB version at $349, and $349, I'm stuttering, is basically the MSRP for the 16GB version. $369, $349, let's see if we still have stock. And yeah, it seems that we still have stock, only $9.99 for the shipping, which is fine, meaning that the card is only like, I would say like $10 over MSRP, which is great. You can still get these. And again, we had this before, $349, a very good model, and $349 for the gigabyte model as well. And if you want to go, for example, for the ASRock Steel Legend, you are around $40 over MSRP, which is not that outrageous, not something that like we've seen like $100, $200, $300 over the MSRP in some other cards. It is quite acceptable actually. $40 for a better model over the MSRP. And again, we still have this one $369 and this one at $379. Then we have these insane models, of course, but these I believe that nobody should get these because for 19 you can get much better than this. But again, it seems that MSRP finally means something and prices are kind of going down to what they should be from the beginning. And of course, the same applies to Micro Center. If you go to Micro Center, you have several cards at MSRP, $299. And if we go to the 16GB versions, let's see. The first one that we have is the one that I have as well. And we now can have it at MSRP. Again, the Challenger model, MSRP price, $349, $349, $349, $349. So basically, we have lots of these cards at MSRP, which is basically what we want. And if we go to other cards like the RTX 5060, we still have them at MSRP. 8GB, $299. 8GB, this is the one Ti, 8GB, and by the way, this is also MSRP, so $379 MSRP. Then the 16GB, I believe it is, let me see, yeah, $429. Then if we go down, we will most likely see the 16GB model, which is $479 MSRP, and we can get one for $489, so $10 over MSRP. Let me see more, $479 again, $489, $479, and it seems that we finally have lots of cards at MSRP, being them AMD or NVIDIA. RTX 5060, 5060 Ti, 8 and 16GB at MSRP, the RX 9060 XT, 8 and 16GB at MSRP as well. But you might say, well, but this is only for America. This is one of the websites from Portugal where I live, by the way. And yesterday and the previous day we had lots and lots of stock, and now we still have stock, but of course we have less. And cards like the 9060 XT, only 8GB are at €324, which is basically the MSRP for Portugal or for Europe generally. 324 as you can see, MSRP. This one, I believe this one is the 16GB model. Yeah, the 16 gigabytes model at 439, which I believe is quite high because the MSRP here is 380 euros. So it is a bit over the top in my opinion, but we do have some 16 gigabytes models at lower price. So for example, this one is at 379, which is the MSRP, not 389, 379. And again, we had it like a few hours ago. I checked it a few hours ago and this model was still available on this website. And if I go to another Portuguese website or Spanish website like PC Componentes, we can see the Sapphire Pulse at really close to MSRP, like 2 euros over MSRP. 16 gigabytes, 96 XT, 16 gigabytes again, 380 euros, and the 8 gigabytes version at 325. Again, MSRP prices. And if we go to, let's say, RTX 5060, we have them at 344. Not a bad price. We only have one model, I guess. So let me see, RTX 5060. So we only have here at 394, which is not great, but we do have one here at 324. So 324 is more than acceptable. And if we go only to the TI versions, we have one 16 gigabytes at 500 euros. Again, the MSRP is 479. So it is around 500 euros in Europe. One even cheaper, but this is the 8 gigabytes model, the one that nobody should get. Again, refurbished one for 493, 500, and the 8 gigabytes version at 400. So again, they are all within the MSRP for both America and Europe, which is great, actually great. And if we go to Mind Factory Germany, it is more or less the same. We have again several 9060 XT models, 8 and 16 gigabytes, again 399, 397. We even have the 16 gigabytes model at 369 from XFX. Huge deal that we can get for these cards. 16 gigabytes at again 369 euros, which is basically MSRP plus a bit of taxes. I mean, great. And I believe that the same case will be for the NVIDIA cards, RTX 5060. I believe so. 5060 Ti, 8 gigabytes, 368 again inside MSRP, and the 16 gigabytes models at around 450 euros. This is actually below MSRP, I believe. Below MSRP. MSRP was $479, which in Europe will be around 20 to 30 euros more. So it is actually below MSRP, this one, the 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. So it's great. So finally, we are able to get cards at real prices, the prices that they should be from the beginning, but it took months for the MSRP prices to mean something, and for now it is only on the low to mid-tier cards. And now you have an example. The RTX 5070 MSRP is, I believe the launch price, yes, 549. So 559, but it is again an open box. And if you want to buy one new, the cheapest one that you can get is the Gigabyte WindForce model, and it's $600, $604, which is roughly $55 above MSRP, which of course isn't that bad. It was way worse before. As for the RTX 5070 Ti, the MSRP is 749 euros. The cheapest one is at 824 and plus $13. On these cards, the lowest we can get is still $100 over MSRP, which is a lot. It is again not insane, but it is still a lot. And it gets even worse if we go, for example, for the 5080. The 5080's MSRP is $999. and it's just so insane. So open box, and of course you can get these, but even on an open box we have it $259 over MSRP, and the MSRP again is $999. And if we go to any other card that isn't open box, we have it out of stock, we have $400 over MSRP, which is 40% over MSRP, which is insane. But as soon as we go to Micro Center, we do have some better deals. If we go to pick it up at store, we can get the RTX 5080 from PNY, triple fan model of course, at $1,299, basically $1,300. Still $300 over MSRP, which is crazy. Again, it seems that for the higher tier cards, MSRP means nothing at all, but for the lower end cards, it is kind of applying. Again, RX 9060 XT, RTX 5060, 5060 Ti, and 5070 are kind of close to MSRP, but as soon as we go to the 5070 Ti or as we go to the 5080, MSRP prices are completely meaningless. I mean, you can't really find any card at MSRP, or at least if you find one, it is a hell of a deal because most cards will be $200, $300 above MSRP, which is again a lot. And this not only happens to the NVIDIA side, it also happens to the AMD side. As soon as we go to the 9070, as soon as we go to the 9070, take in consideration that the MSRP for the RX 9070 was $549, so $549. And the cheaper one that we can see here, let me see what we can get actually in terms of the normal 9070. So 9070 out of stock, and well, we actually have a nice deal. Well, I'm surprised here because we finally can get a Challenger model for $599, which means that for the 9070, which is a great deal, if you ask me, which is a great deal right now, the normal 9070 you can get it for $600, $50 above MSRP. Again, not a bad deal at all. $50 above MSRP, which is more or less like we can get the RTX 5070. So the lower tier cards are more or less at MSRP, and it seems that the mid tier cards from both AMD and NVIDIA are also at MSRP, which is great. The next model is like $649, $100 over the MSRP, but this model, the Challenger model, we can get it for $600, which is a very good price if you ask me. And the Challenger model, sorry, the triple fan model is quite nice. As for the Portuguese prices at PC Diga, well, we don't really have many models, but the first model that we have of the 9070, and I believe it's out of stock. Yeah, it's basically out of stock. So the only one that we have in stock is like 699 euros, which is just crazy, almost 150 euros over MSRP, which is crazy. We do get a refurbished 9070 XT for 639 euros, and in this case this is kind of a nice deal because the MSRP of the card is 599 and we can get one for 639. Okay, but again, it's refurbished. If you want something new, yeah, we don't really have many models here. And going to PC components doesn't really fix that. Again, the 9070 XT, 800 euros, which is just crazy. And the cheaper one that I see here is like 700 euros. 701, but it's kind of a promotion for the 9070. 789, 750. This is really just crazy. So it seems MSRP prices are getting better, especially in USA. Again, with the Challenger RX 9070 model being quite nice. Again, this one is around $100 over MSRP, but in Europe is 150 euros in both websites that I searched. The minimum, because the other models are even higher, and for the 9070 XT it is more or less the same. Although maybe if we go to Mind Factory we can get better pricing, and yeah, we can get the 9070, but again 648. Oh, but we can get this one, the 9070 Quicksilver, for 613 euros, and this is actually a pretty decent deal. It's not the best deal ever, of course, because it's still like 70 or 80 euros above MSRP, which is quite acceptable. And as for the 9070 XT from 599, which is like 620 euros MSRP in Europe, I believe 728, 727, whoa, 1 euro, 727. And that's basically what we can get in terms of the 9070 XT, still quite above MSRP in Europe, but getting much better. But the prices in USA aren't that much different for the 9070 XT. Again, $799, which is $200 over MSRP. Let's see the lowest price. Let's see if we get something interesting here. Out of stock, $769. It's what we get. $769, but open box, and the minimum, the lowest price that we can get is $799, which is $200 over MSRP. And again, this is just insane, and this should never happen. MSRP prices should mean something, and AMD and NVIDIA need to fix this crap, because even though the lower end or should I say the low and mid-tier cards can have MSRP prices or prices really close to MSRP, which is great. The higher tier cards like the 9070 XT, 5070 Ti, 5080 and especially the 5090 have completely overblown prices, outrageous prices. Again, a card that should cost $599, let's say that there should be a lot of models like $650, $699 tops, and what we can see here at minimum is $729 for a card that should be like an entry model like the Sapphire Pulse, because if we go higher we can see $829, $849 for example for the Nitro Plus. It is completely insane. A card that should cost $599 or a card that has $599 MSRP having $849 for the Nitro model. It's just insane. Yeah. So even though we cannot say that MSRP prices are back, sadly, they are back to some degree. They are back to some degree with the lower and mid-tier cards like the RX 9060 XT, the RTX 5060, 5060 Ti, and even the RTX 5070 and the RX 9070 non-XT. But as soon as we go over that for the 9070 XT, 5070 Ti, and 5080 and 5090, basically the prices are way above MSRP like you saw. But well, it is what it is, but I believe that things are getting better, and as soon as we get more and more stock of these cards and more of these cards are piling up in the shelves, the prices will go down. So we have a lot of demand currently for some degree of cards like the 9070 XT, and we don't really have that huge amount of stock. We do have stock, but not that huge amount, and that's exactly why it is happening what's happening. MSRP prices mean nothing on those cards, and yeah, prices are shooting through the roof. While on the mid-tier cards we have lots and lots of cards available to buy, and that's exactly why we can get most of them at MSRP. Still very good to have finally some cards at MSRP. And that's all for today's video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe and share this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I mean, there's not really much more to enjoy. It's just me talking about and showing some prices, but well, still I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one, guys. Big hug. Cheers.